I'm an addict. Let's talk about it. But first, coffee.
I open up the door, I take a step outside. The sidewalk meets each footstep. These shoes are my only ride. I'm walking with coffee, walking with coffee. I'm talking about midlife, talking about midlife. Cup in my hand gets lighter with each stride. I'm walking with coffee, walking with coffee. Now I find myself down the street. I've got gum on the bottom of my shoe. I put one foot in front of the other. What else can I do? I'm walking with coffee, walking with coffee. I'm talking about midlife, talking about midlife. Cup in my hand gets lighter with each stride. I'm walking with coffee, walking with coffee. Now my dogs are barking, my coffee is almost gone. I got a ways to go to get back home to brew another cup of coffee. What else can I do? I'm walking with coffee, walking with coffee, walking with coffee. I'm walking with coffee.
So, I decided to splurge. There you see the Copper Goat over there. Copper Goat Coffee is my first coffee from there here in downtown Riverside. And I saw they had a cortado. So a cortado is basically 2 ounces of espresso and 2 ounces of milk. And he asked me what milk I wanted, and I decided to splurge and opted for half and half. So is this a cortado breve? Let's give it a taste. Ooh, that is good. Okay, that is good. Now, I believe their coffee is sourced from Ethiopia, and that is like a favorite of mine. So I'm gonna see if I can find a sort of a quiet area, because here in the there's the pedestrian mall here. Looks like they're setting something up. Yeah, so I want to be sure and be away from a lot of the noise we might hear, and just kind of enjoy my coffee. Yeah, but I'm an addict. And you could probably guess by now what I'm addicted to. Yes, let's safely cross the street. This is the Riverside Convention Center. Yeah. Let's go down this little path here. I think it'll be sufficiently away from the noise of the pedestrian mall. Yeah, so like I said, you could probably guess what I'm addicted to. and that is coffee. And although I know it's an addiction, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. And let me tell you why. So, I'm not sorry because I feel like I've given up so much in the way of things I enjoy eating and drinking, and yeah. So basically I'm vegetarian, first of all, and I'm very happy with that decision. Of course, there's sacrifice involved, obviously, and on top of that, it was early last year, that I found out that I had diabetes. And I say had because I made some drastic changes to my life and reversed my diabetes. So, but let me tell you, I have given up so many things. Let's go to this dappled shade up here, and let me take a few more sips of coffee. Okay, I think we're good here for a moment or two. Yeah, so I've given up so many things. I had to go on this hardcore diet, removing sugar and bread, pasta, potatoes. Basically, trying to cut out as much sugar and cut way back on the carbs. So I feel like I've given up so much. And twice now, I've had doctors, one medical doctor, the other therapist. I've had two doctors tell me that I should either cut way back or give up coffee. And let me tell you, I feel like I've given up so much. So I'm not gonna do that. I don't wanna give that up. I feel like it's pretty much one of my only remaining addictions. I don't know where I want to go. Preferably shade, but I'm not seeing a lot of shade. Man, there are Starbucks all... Oh, huh. Oh, okay. I guess that's the... I'm not used to seeing there's a Starbucks down there. And I'm not used to seeing that from this angle, I guess. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So I do not want to give up my coffee. And I know I drink way too much. Typically, in the morning, I don't start my morning with less than 2 cups of coffee. Or I should say, I start it with 2 cups of coffee. And then typically I'll have at least 1, and if not 2 more after that. And you know, we're talking 8-ounce cups of coffee, so that's actually a little more than a typical coffee serving is 6 ounces. This is 8 ounces, so yeah. Oh, more shade up there. Looks like they just laid down new asphalt, and They haven't drawn in the permanent lines yet. This again is the parking, one of the parking lots for the Riverside Convention Center. Yeah, so again, I know, moderate intake of coffee, I think, is actually very good for your health. There are health benefits to it. But the level that I drink, typically what I consider 4 cups of coffee, I think it's too much. But again, I'm not really willing to give that up. Oh, let's head over here. Yeah, I feel like I've given up so much for my health. I've done great things for my health. I need something. I need something that I can just not be completely bad. And I'm typically a double cream, double sugar kind of guy, but I have given up the sugar. But ooh, this is nice. I have given up the sugar, replaced it with Splenda, as I mentioned in the last video. I did not bring Splenda, but honestly, this does not need it. This is quite tasty. I think going with half and half was a good call. Yeah. I'm still kind of doing testing for these videos. I'm not sure how the sound is. I do have an external microphone that I could be using, but as long as you can hear me, I'm okay with that. We might be getting a little breeze noise, I'm not sure. But yeah. See if I can find another shady spot to stop and have a few more sips. This is pretty small, so but it's 2 ounces of espresso, I should say. Is an espresso shot 1 ounce or 2 ounces? I don't know. Drop a comment down below and let me know. Yeah. So strangely enough, next to Copper Goat Coffee, a few doors down, literally, there's another coffee shop. That one has a longer name in Spanish that I can't remember right now. But yeah, that's where I first learned of the cortado. There's a little bit of shade here. A little bit of shade. Yeah, so that's where I first learned of the cortado. That time I just got a drip coffee with half and half. Yeah. So when I saw Copper Goat had a cortado called the Copper Cortado, I figured I would give it a shot. I don't know that it would be as good. With just milk. Maybe I'll try that next time. Because that would be the healthier option. Yeah. But let's go for another sip before it starts getting cold. I also talked in the last video about not liking lukewarm coffee. It either needs to be hot or cold. And speaking of hot, I feel my camera is overheating a little bit. So I'm going to turn it off for a little bit so it can cool down, and I'll enjoy some more of this, and then I'll probably come back to close out the video. So I'm about to enjoy the last sip of the copper cortado made with half and half. That is quite good. I do not miss the sugar or even sweetener. Quite good. So I realize, a coffee addiction is probably one of the least serious addictions you can have. But it's an addiction nonetheless. Pretty much anything in excess is not good for you. And I definitely have too much coffee. Admittedly, this is my first cup of the day, and it's probably around 9 a.m. So usually I have my second cup by maybe 6 a.m., 6:30, usually at the latest. So I realize, there's much worse, more serious addictions that one can have. But nevertheless, we do have to try and consider our health. And I remember, it's been years now, but I remember years ago my mom, I forget how it came up in the conversation, but she told me that she was glad that I don't really drink alcohol. And now I can't drink alcohol, but she was glad that I don't drink alcohol, because she said that she feels that I have an addictive personality. Which at first I was like, no, I don't think so. But I think she's right. First of all, coffee. And one of my addictions used to be food. Definitely, that was a huge one for me. I've since lost about 40 pounds. So so I see it there, and then also I see it in I'm kind of addicted to collecting things and or shopping. But usually the shopping addiction comes from an addiction for collecting. For example, I amassed over 3,000 records, over 1,000 audio cassettes, several hundred CDs. Then I got into typewriters. I collected about 50 typewriters. I narrowed it down to about 25, between 30 and 40. What else? Fountain pens. I have amassed over 300 fountain pens. And going back even further, books. Books was like the first thing I was truly obsessed with. So those are addictions too. Less harmful to your well-being. In fact, in some ways beneficial to your well-being. But then it's not good for your finances. And that's almost equally important as your health. Yeah. So anyway, I thought I would just share this topic with you. I'd love to hear, what are your addictions? What are you currently battling? What battles have you won? Drop a comment down below, and let's create a discussion down there about our addictions. But I'm not giving up my coffee. I gave up the sugar in the coffee, but I'm not giving up the coffee. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.